Hello! Let's do some math today. Today's math is going to look a lot like yesterday's math. We are again doing Unit 9, which is review. So the things that we'll be doing in our math journal are basically things that we've already learned. Today we're going to do 2 more pages of math boxes, and we'll start with page 185. So you're going to need your journal and a pencil. Flip it to 185. I'll read the questions to you. You are going to complete them on your own. And again, pause the video if you need me to slow down a little bit so you can solve something. Number 1 says, draw a line to match each face to the correct picture of the 3-dimensional shape. Now remember, a face is one of the surfaces of a 3-dimensional shape. So for example, I have a battery here, which is like a cylinder, right? Because it has 2 flat faces and then a curved face. The faces are the shape that's down here, the shape that's up here, those would both be circles, and then of course the curved face that goes around the entire cylinder. So every 3D shape has faces. Your job is to draw a line to connect the faces to their shapes. Number 2 says each part is half. Okay, so we have a square cut in half. Each part is half. What could you call both shares? Now we talked about this when we talked about names for halves or quarters. We also said there's some word that we call the whole thing. I might have just given it away there. Number 3 says circle the ones digit. Now remember, in a number that has more than one digit, the ones place is always going to be in the back of the number. So make sure you find the ones place in the back of each one of those 6 numbers. Number 4 says write less than, greater than, or equal to. So you have to count up this money, and figure out which one is bigger or smaller, or maybe they're equal. Remember, a dime, that's the D, is worth 10 cents. A penny, that's the P, is worth 1 cent. Number 5 is an addition problem. So you're adding the base 10 blocks. Number 6 says, is the number sentence true? If not, change only one number or symbol to make it true. Okay, so let's look at this number sentence. 3 plus 3 plus 5 equals 12. Is that true? If it is, then you'll write yes. If it's not true, then you'll write no. But if it's not true, you also need to change it in some way to make it true. They're asking you to change one number or one symbol that can make it true. So I'll let you figure that out. All right, the next page in our journal is page 186. We're going to skip that page because it's a page about lining up paper clips, taping them all together, and then using them to measure with. Well, I can't guarantee that you all have a huge pile of paper clips and tape at home that you can tape together and use as a measuring stick. Plus, we've already done activities very similar to this at several points throughout this year. So we're not going to do page 186. We are going to do page 187, which is right here, and that's another set of math boxes. So let's get started. Number 1 says, draw a polygon with 6 sides. Now that might end up being a hexagon, or it might end up being a shape that you've never even seen before because you made it up. But it has to have 6 sides. Number 2 says, color the rectangles. So that means there are some shapes on number 2 that are not rectangles. You're not going to color those shapes. Only color the rectangles. Number 3 says, how much of the shape is colored? Okay, so we have a blue part and a white part. What would we call the blue part of the shape? You had a question like this on your test, so I know you'll get it right. Number 4 says, how many equal shares are there in each shape? So here, how many equal shares are there? Put the number right below it. In this one, how many equal shares? Put the number right below it. And then it says, color one of the larger shares. So which circle has bigger pieces? You're going to color one of those pieces. Number 5 says, you have 40 cents. You buy a pencil for 30 cents. This sounds a lot like what we're going to do in our math lesson tomorrow. You have 40 cents, you bought a pencil for 30 cents. How much do you have left? Okay, so you can use your number grid to solve this story problem. They also want you to write a number model, which is a number sentence. So if I were doing this problem, my number model would be something minus something equals something. With these two numbers, what would we use to subtract? What order would we put them in to subtract? Because that's what you have to do to solve this answer. Here's the unit box. They do tell you what you're working with. Remember, you're buying a pencil, but the thing that you're actually counting is money, because you're trying to figure out 40 cents minus 30 cents. So the unit is actually going to be money or cents. Either one would work. And number 6 says, find the rule and the missing numbers. So use the information you know here to figure out the rule. Put the rule in the box. And then you have to figure out these missing numbers. Remember, to figure out the rule that goes on, to figure out the number that goes on the inside, you're going to have to do the opposite of the rule to this number. Okay. Now, after you're done with those 2 pages, you're going to post them on Seesaw, just like normal, and I will see you tomorrow for a fun shopping math activity.